screwdriver. There's other screws that go up through the bottom, but I could not get this thing to come up and idle when I did the deal. But I have not messed with those air mix screws yet. And what I'll do is I've got a paint marker. I'll put a paint marker on them, on each of them, and then I'll count the turns as I back them out and put them back in, so we can get them back exactly where he had them. And while I got that paint marker out, well, that's already been done, but I'm going to remark that because one of his paint marks just came on.
Well, no, it's because it was hard to get it in, like, anything marked on there because of all the friggin' nastiness.
Grease?
Yeah. Which, there's a lot on the set.
Yeah, it's old. The old motors.
Like a shitload, like the seal is leaking.
Yeah, probably a lot over a long time. Not bad for an old engine. I've seen a lot worse. I mean, a lot worse. And so, considering it's an old engine, everything. But boy, I wish you could figure out why it's running so damn late. You know, a little bit of wear in the throttle shafts, but that's actually pretty normal on these guys. That's the main throttle plate that's down underneath this one. There's another one of these underneath this one, and that's the main throttle plate.
Right.
And it's operated off all this stuff over here with all this crazy crap going on. This stuff doesn't even work anymore. But it's not really hurting anything, so we're not going to mess with it. But that would be your cruise control. And this is supposed to be the...
Yeah, see what they did with the cruise? It's just this button right here with a wire going through the steering wheel. That was added. It's like an attached one.
That was added on.
And it's going through the dash right here. I'm not sure if I can feel it.
Yeah, that's aftermarket. In other words, somebody did that. They put that in there after.
I don't even know if it's hooked to anything anymore. Maybe that's it. Could be it right there.
Yeah, see, they're using.
It looks like the same wire.
They're using the fast idle cam for your idle screw, and this is actually the idle screw right here. And somebody lost this type of screw and put a different screw in there, but at least it's in there. And they even put a lock nut on it. It's supposed to have a spring on it like this. And this thing, see how the spring is compressed all the way down? No, it's supposed to be. This thing's supposed to be out a ways, and then the guy's supposed to be in a ways, so it contacts there. And that's the idle stop screw, this one here. That one's the fast idle cam screw that works in conjunction with that little linkage rod. But I think we've got to get one more of these guys. And, but that's, you know, that's beyond, that's beside the...
I think that's the main issue, though.
Yeah, the fact, well, it's running lean. It's right, and
but that's because the choke's not doing what it's supposed to do.
No. Because it was warm enough. If that choke should have been off all the way already, if it was working correctly, and even with the throttle wide open like that, or the choke wide open like that, it's still running way too lean. It's way lean. That's why it's missing and it's trying to die. It's not trying to die because it's getting too much fuel, I don't think. It's trying to die because it's not getting enough fuel. And you know, we alleviated that fuel line. That was easy. It only cost $1.
Yeah, that took you like 2 seconds.
Yeah, a piece of fuel line was $1, you know. And so we eliminated that. That can't be the problem. And you got a brand new fuel filter on it. We're guessing that that's not the problem.
And then the vacuum leak.
And we had a huge vacuum leak right here, and that did help. It actually did help. It runs better now than it did. But we still got a real lean condition going on, and I'm just not sure what it is. Could possibly be that when the guy built this carburetor, he didn't get the float set right. He didn't get it set right the first time because he had to take it back off and take it apart and reset the float. And the kit comes with a little gauge that helps you set that float. And it's called float drop. And it is really critical. I mean, literally, I had a buddy and I in high school, a guy named Bill Summers, and that's all he did was build carburetors. That's all he did. I wish he was here right now. And he'd go out, get the carburetor off the vehicle, take it home, just like this guy, bring it back, rebuild it, bring it back the next day, put it on the vehicle, put a brand new set of spark plugs in it, have him drive it for a week. He'd come back and pull the spark plug out, and if it was running rich, he'd adjust the float level down a little bit, just a little bit, 32nd of an inch, you know. And if it was running lean, he'd adjust the float level up a 32nd of an inch. But it's literally a 1/16 of an inch is a difference in that float level there. It's really precise.
Yeah, it's kind of like when the timing is off.
Kind of like when the timing's off. That's really precise too. And but I don't think it's a timing issue. And
no, I think everything, whatever it is, has to do with the choke
but I like
and how it's functioning.
Well, that's the cold start
or not
part.
Functioning.
Yeah, that's the cold start part. But we've already ran it long enough, you know, to start getting up.
Yeah, that's hot.
It's hot. So that would be enough heat to make that coil up if this was the right one, and it's not because it's jamming on it. We looked and saw I think one that had the 2 slots in it. I think this may be for a different carburetor where maybe a 4-barrel or something, you know, where the choke is in a different spot, and that's why it doesn't line up and do everything it's supposed to do. It looks like it's the right one, but I don't think it's the right one, and they would call that a choke thermostat, right?
And the part's not that expensive.
Like
it was, what, like 21 or $22 when we looked it up.
Might be a little
so
more.
I'd be willing to go with that first.
Well, I think that'd be a good start, and because then we can get the choke operating correctly, and then we can work on this lean issue that it's got, because it's going to be leaner than shit. And I really thought I could find it that way. I've got one other backup way I'm gonna do when we're going to start this thing up again in a minute. And I'm going to listen.
You're going to take its temperature?
I'm going to listen around the base plate of this thing with the stethoscope, because sometimes you can actually hear a hiss, you know, if there's a vacuum leak. And
well, the whole thing hisses.
Yeah, but
when it started. Oh. That's like a doctor's stethoscope.
Yes, it is.
That's cool.
It's a mechanic stethoscope. So see how you can pick stuff out of all the rest of that noise. You'll be able. But I want to do this because this only takes a sec. Go ahead and line it up again.
All right.
So let's choke.
You ready?
Yeah. Quiet all the way around here. I can't hear nothing. There's a hell of a vacuum leak around the front of this carburetor. Maybe.
That's big. That's a big difference
there. Maybe. Yeah, you heard it, right?
Yeah, I heard it.
You know, shh. You know, I got a funny freaking feeling that base plate gasket is no good. It's got a crack in it. Something's fucked up with it.
And I can't remember if the gasket came with the kit or not.
Well, sometimes they do. I bet you they do. I I'm not afraid of rebuilding this thing. I've done these, a lot of them, and I know how to read the instructions, and I know how to set
it's already been rebuilt once, though.
I know, that ought to be easy this time.
But can't we just buy the base plate gasket?
Yeah, we could, but if we got the carb off, I'd sure like to pull the air horn off of it and check the float level, because just in case that guy screwed it up, you know.
Now remember, he saved my ass when I was stuck in Tennessee.
I know it, but just in case. But even the world was paved with good intentions, remember?
Yeah.
You know, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I can break things.
We're all humans.
I do it nice because I do
mistakes.
it twice. Right?
Right.
So sometimes 3 times. So, but I could hear that. You know, I could hear air whistling in there. Now another way we can test it is, what do I have?
Well, I heard it with my own ears too.
Yeah. What else do I have? I wish that stupid torch didn't have that frickin' igniter built right into it. I wonder if there's some way I could denut that igniter so it doesn't ignite.
Denut it.
Yeah. Because basically what I want is just a good stream of propane coming out of that thing, and if you pull the trigger too far, you get... But I got a funny feeling, you know, it was missing that nut on the front too. On that front corner, that's where it was missing.
That was all.
Yeah, and I just got.
And then there was something that was stuck there. Remember, preventing the nut from going on.
There's a little bit of gasket material sticking out, and it may not be the base plate gasket. It may be this gasket that's right in here. See this gasket? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's in between the base plate and the actual carburetor body.
Yeah.
And there's 3 parts to a gasket or carburetor. There's a base plate.
Right.
There's a carburetor body.
Well, I seen it when he had it off, because he took it overnight.
And there's an air horn. See? Base plate, carburetor body, air horn. And the float this is the float bowl right over here. So float's right inside of this guy. And like I said, we're going to have it off of there anyways. And we ought to just...
I think we should head for cooler weather first.
Yeah, then throw... Yeah, exactly. And then throw a kit in it. Go ahead and put a carburetor kit. Yeah, and it's cooler at work.
And it's not so hot.
And but we did get a few things looked at, and we may have the problem diagnosed,
which is definitely a start.
That's a good start, isn't it? We've got all the parts and pieces, except we need one of these little tiny clips like this, and sometimes we can get those at auto parts stores. I've seen those. Sometimes they come.
Won't that part come with it if I order that coil again?
Oh, it should.
The thermostat?
Yeah, it should come with that and the clip. And so we'll have an extra clip.
Because, I mean,
we'll take that
supposed
clip.
to get the stimulus, so I'll have the money to do it.
Okay,
I'll buy that part, start with that.
Yep, that and a carb base plate gasket and a carb kit.
And go from there.
And go from there on it. And we'll have to get that number off of this carb.
I mean, half the job is diagnosing, right?
Well, yeah, we can figure out why, but it's running just leaner than crap.
And all the tubes, we've already checked all the hoses.
Yep.
Covered that vacuum leak, did everything else.
Go ahead and try to start it now. This would be a hot start. And I'm going to hold it, I'm not going to close the choke at all. Don't pump the gas, don't do anything. That's a hot start, not a cold start.
It doesn't seem like it wants to stay started.
No, it's just running leaner than shit. I got in like 3 on there. So you got this stuff there. Let me try this.
I like the play I see in that belt right there.
Yeah, it's flopping around all day.
That wouldn't have anything to make it act like this, would it? That belt being loose.
No.
It's just
running
from this angle, it's going like this.
And it's bouncing all over.
Right there.
Yep. No, that would have to do with this. That would have to do with belt slipping. That really squeaked when you started.
And when I get it, I might fix that.
It's just running leaner than crap.
When we get the stimulus, we'll get the thermostat, the gasket, and we'll get all the belts too.
The carb kit will come with a base plate gas.